Hello everyone. Yesterday I was hit by existential dread while pondering about what the future might bring me in relation to what job I would end up doing. I mean, there are so many different career paths that you can take requiring vast skill sets, but what jobs are truly the bottom of the barrel? What job will make everyone lose their respect for me? Alright, let's get into it. Number 1, body snatchers. You're probably wondering what I just said. I mean, that sounds like a Magic the Gathering card. To put it briefly, in the 18th to 19th century, there was a high demand for corpses to use for medical study. Obviously, some cadavers could be legally obtained, but the supply was insufficient. So the next best thing was to seek a body snatcher. What they would do is steal corpses from graveyards to sell to medical schools and sometimes other buyers. But I'm sure they weren't using it for anything grotesque. Body snatchers are pretty much the equivalent to a real-life dark web. Also, in case you were wondering, yeah, this was illegal, surprisingly. Overall, this was a very gruesome job and led to many families in sorrow. I mean, technically, there's still a market for it, so if this video inspired you to find a new profession, go ham. I'm just kidding, please don't. Alright, number 2, we got night soil collectors. This might seem like a big shift, having just described a job where you dig up the deceased, but trust me, night soil collectors would collect and transport human waste. Obviously, now we have modern plumbing, so this job died out. But imagine professionally carrying human shit across the globe. The way they got the feces was from chamber pots, latrines, and other sources. And then they would unload it on carts, wheelbarrows, and other transportation means. If you got unlucky though and were in a densely populated urban area, there wasn't enough space for carts, so instead a night soil collector would have to manually carry buckets filled to the brim with waste on their shoulders and transport it that way. I think I made my point clear on how miserable this is. If I had to do this, I'd at least expect to get fat stacks, but no, their wages were also pretty low. As you know, the social stigma was pretty harsh to a job where you clean up shit. This was unsanitary, and obviously the exposure to human waste was a health risk. The only way I could see someone enjoying this job was if they had a kink. So pretty much if you're German. Number 3, we got Executioner. This is another emotionally demanding occupation. I first want to talk about the guillotine operator, which was a beheading device used all the way from the 18th to 20th century. The operator was in charge of the preparation, release, and maintenance of this device. They first would have to properly calibrate the machine, then release it with a precise mechanism and pray that it has enough force so it doesn't accidentally turn into a 10-minute snuff film. After the fact came maintenance. The operator would have to clean the blade of all the bloodshed. Look, I'm not a complete softie, but I can't tell you this doesn't become mentally scarring in the long run. The job of executioner still exists today. I'm sure it's not a cheery day at the office every day. I mean, I'd definitely rather work at BK flipping burgers, but it's a little less emotionally draining than it was before. Number 4, we got Sin Eater. This is a pretty obscure one. During the 17th to 19th centuries, a Sin Eater was hired to attend funerals and partake in a ritualistic act. The Sin Eater would consume food and drink placed on the deceased body, which symbolically absorbed the sins of the dead, thus allowing them a chance at a cleaner slate in the afterlife. This job was shrouded in superstition, which, makes sense because this is actually deluded. I'm not one to judge, but if you think eating a Big Mac above someone who drastically sinned will increase their chance at a good afterlife, then fair enough. I don't really know. Sin eaters were often shunned by society because of the spiritual contamination stigma they acquired. Pretty weird, right? Alright, let's get to what you really came for. Number 5, we got prostitution. I think that consenting adults should have the freedom to engage in this line of work if they choose to. I could genuinely care less. It kind of just depends on what your values are. That being said, it's not exactly the most noble profession. Alright, that's all I got. I'm gonna leave it off there. I hope you enjoyed this video on some of history's most socially unacceptable jobs. If you have any other jobs that you find poor, feel free to tell me via the comments down below. I'm Defect Show, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, probably. Also, video ideas are appreciated. I'm kind of in a box here. Alright, thank you for watching.